second belt. I've already got this one. Where's the second one at? So, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
That's right, folks. The double world champ does do what the F he wants. Jelle Geens, 2 times 70.3 world champion. What are we, only 48 hours-ish since the result? You must be still buzzing. How are you doing? Well done. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, crazy, isn't it? Like, it's obviously what I hoped for and trained for, but yeah, then to still do it, it's still different, you know. And to be honest, it's back to normal life. We're traveling at the moment. We're in Madrid in a hotel airport. Yeah, it was already a hard. Well, it was okay, but Sienna did a nap yesterday. And then like she was overtired at the end and stuff. So, you know, back to back to normal life basically. But yeah, I'll be happy when I'm home and then can really like properly let it sink in. Well, maybe that Q suite later on the flight, it might sink in a bit there as well already.
Yeah, well, you definitely earned it, haven't you? But back to reality, I guess, right? She doesn't know what you've just done, Sienna.
No, I did tell her though. If I say now, yeah, Sienna, who's world champion? And she says, "Daddy." I told her.
That's cute.
But she does not know what it means.
She might not know what world champion means, but no, but that's actually pretty special, isn't it? Like well, she was obviously born last year, but she's maybe getting a little bit older, starting to understand that why is all these people running and jumping and screaming for daddy? Maybe at some point she's going to start realizing that it's pretty special.
Yeah, indeed. That's what, yeah, for me, that it makes it even a lot more special. They're all there and they were standing at the finish line. Like you can see it in the videos. Like it's the first people I go to, you know, it's Kate, Sienna, and my mom, which, yeah, it's really special to be able to do it with them. Like, and just the whole prep with them. I feel like, yeah, we've been through it all together, and then to like celebrate together as well at the finish line with like a sprint finish. They basically didn't know who won until they saw
Neither
me
did we.
coming.
We were watching the whole thing, and we didn't bloody know until about the
That's
last 10
true.
seconds.
I heard that. They show the hotel, right? They have now. That you see, they have now like the last mile filmed from behind. It's quite cool. It's actually basically where Kristian attacked. That whole attack they have now, which it's quite nice to look back and to see. But I do also think like just the emotions after like a sprint finish after such a long race, it's like special, you know, like it's fun where you can celebrate the last 5K like Lucy was able to. But I feel like the excitement you have at the finish line in a sprint finish and with them there, like, yeah, that was really cool.
The adrenaline rush of winning a race in a sprint finish, especially a big race like this, I don't think it gets any better than that. And you could obviously see the emotion pouring out of you and everyone around you. So that was, yeah, mate. I know we're about to get into it, and we're going to dive straight in, basically because you touched on it before about Lucy Charles-Barclay, or you mentioned her name. We should mention that she will be joining us very soon. Yeah, so nice. we're going to get onto your race first and go a deep dive into that before we bring Lucy in, and hopefully we can get a deep dive into her race as well. So
sounds like a plan.
Let's get to the start. So you've been over in Europe for quite some time now. Remind me exactly when, but it's been about probably a couple of months, and then
3.5 months. So a long period we have been here. And basically the plan was for the whole year already, like really front load of the beginning of the season. I did all the T100s up until the Oropesa one, so that I have my 4 results, so that I could do like a proper build and training block into 70.3 worlds. Because as a defending champ, you want to be there in your best position. I feel like it really worked out well. Like I feel that altitude camp like that we did in Andorra. I think that was really like I was in a good shape the whole year already, but I feel like I gained a few extra percentages with that altitude camp block and also just the whole training block leading into 70.3 worlds, I think.
Yeah, and I guess as well, like you said, it's been a big target for you this race. I know you've obviously been in pretty good shape for pretty much most of the year. and I know you go into races such as the T100 races also wanting to win, but I guess you squeeze a little bit more, don't you? You maybe do that little bit extra. You find that extra few percent, or not even a few percent, extra points of a percent, knowing such a big race is coming up, and you kind of can really, go all in.
Yeah.
Excuse the pun of the name,
All
All
in
In Triathlon.
triathlon.
But yeah.
No, but it's true though. Like, just for me, also in training, it just motivates me so much to work towards a big race. Yeah, I don't know. Like, just training goes a lot easier. I feel like when the suffering goes a lot easier when you know there is a big race coming, and yeah, that's what happened. Like, obviously, like all T100 races are big races. Like, you race a lot of the best guys in the world, but still, like, it's always the same, races. So, yeah, motivation was definitely high for this one, let's say.
And by all reports, I was speaking to Jack Kelly actually, and I know he did a few runs with you in the lead up in Andorra, and even maybe in Marbella in the lead in. I'm not too sure about that, but he was saying you're in good form. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about. I know we've already mentioned a little bit on this pod anyway, but I know there's probably going to be some new listeners tuned into this one for this pod. So just do you want to briefly recap on? Yeah, you just mentioned it a little bit, but just a little bit in more detail where you were and what sort of training you were doing.
Yeah, so we decided to go for an altitude camp for this one, which I actually haven't done since Paris Olympics last year. I think the last one was June, July, like leading into Hamburg WTCS. So never in my like middle distance career, and really want to do this one like properly, because I know from the past, like, I react well on altitude. Usually we would go to Fort-Romeu, but because there's not much to do with the family and the whole family was coming with us, we opted for Andorra because it seemed like yeah, there's quite a lot to do for the family as well. So we went there. We were there for 3.5 weeks. It's actually also the first altitude camp I did with my new coach Ben. But in general, because I've been on altitude quite a lot, like, we didn't change too much. Like, obviously the first couple days were quite easy, and then like the intensity is maybe backed off a little bit. But yeah, we did lots of lactate testing to like make sure we're in the right zones or targets. Yeah, and I did a few runs, even some run sessions with Jack Kelly and also with Cam Worth, which was nice. Like, they're like really good people to train with, because they both of them just keep talking. Around an hour 45 run flies by because they just keep talking and saying shit. So it was quite a lot of fun. Yeah, and I just felt there that like training was going really well, and it being on altitude, like, I knew, like, obviously, like, you have less oxygen on altitude, so it's harder to do certain sessions, but I just felt really good doing them. So after that 3.5 week camp in Andorra, we dropped down back to sea level. This was 3 weeks before the race, and we opted for a week in Alcalá, where my parents have a house. It's basically in the middle between Andorra and Marbella. So we drove. It was like 6.5 hours. Stayed a week in Alcalá. Yeah, and actually the last couple days of altitude camp in Andorra, we like backed off and had some easy days, because we always want like the third week before a race to be like a big training week. So the week in Alcalá was actually a really big week where I think I did 28 hours in 6 days, with also heat. Like, we then went into like the heat prep as well.
Sorry, is that from 3 to 2 weeks out, or from 2 to 1?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
3 to 2 weeks out. We feel like it works well to do a big week there for me. And there I did some like, yeah, really good sessions. Like, I feel like the session that stood out most for me was on the run. I did like 4x3K with 2 minutes easy, and it was a 3K at 257 per kilometer. A 3K at, I think I did in 307. Actually, it was the other way around. 307, 257, 307, 256, something like this. Which, yeah, that was for me a really good session. It felt good. And then I actually also felt really good in the bike, just like being able to hit my target power like quite comfortably, and
Mm.
sometimes going a little bit over. Yeah, I just felt really good. And then like the Monday, 13 days before the race, we drove to Marbella. Did like the final key sessions in Marbella. For example, I did my standard like 1 week out from the race. It's 12 by 800. You've done it with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that one felt I felt so amazing. Like I felt so good. I like really had to put the handbrake on to not run way too quick.
Yeah.
So
And you're
that
still
yeah.
probably running a little bit quick, right?
Oh yeah, still was like at least 5 seconds per K too quick.
That's a good feeling when you're like that. But so obviously we spoke about this in one of our earlier pods when we first started doing this at the start of the year, and when we were talking about Taupo 70.3, and at that point, leading into that race, talking to you and even like prior to it, and then a little bit after, to me it felt like you weren't super sure or super confident in how you're going. This is leading into Taupo, and it kind of makes sense because you're fairly new with, at that time, with your coach Ben, like relatively new. You had a couple of good races already, or a good race before.
Yeah.
One, but you won it, and
Mhm.
but you're maybe a little bit unsure because you just didn't really know. Did you know you're in better? Well, were you in better shape than Taupo last year? Firstly, and did you know it?
Well, I feel like the prep was like a bit complete opposite, where before Taupo, like we moved from Girona to Australia like a month out from that race, like 5 weeks out. So that was a lot of stress, a lot of logistics, like spent quite a lot of energy there. Then it was quite hot in Australia as well to train, so never felt really good in training. Where now I felt like I had more or less the perfect preparation, like did an altitude camp, like did all the training I wanted to do, like yeah, like everything basically went how we envisioned it. So yeah, I definitely felt more confident in my shape, like myself. But then I'd never raced the Norwegians before in a middle distance race, so I was quite unsure like where they stack up. Like people would ask like beforehand who would win like in a middle distance race, like the T100 boys or like the
Mm,
Norwegian boys. And like honestly, I had no idea because yeah, it's like you can't know until you raise them, I guess.
yeah,
So
and as it,
that was this time the unknown, I guess. Where although before Taupo as well, like I hadn't raced Hayden or Leo in a middle distance race either.
mm.
So I guess in that regards, it's quite similar.
But also for Hayden and Leo, although we could safely assume were going to be pretty good, we also didn't know because they hadn't done many themselves either. So
Hmm.
like at least with no the Norwegians, you knew for sure that they were going to be tough competitors, and it's
Yeah, and
as
also it seemed like it was still a clear goal for them as well. Like they went on Sierra Nevada to prepare for it. So it's not that they, were a bit mentally done
yeah
after Nice, which would have been possible, but I feel like yeah, they live for triathlon, so I feel like
yeah
they can always do it.
yeah yeah for sure, and well, I reckon actually let's get stuck into the race. You're right. I
Yeah,
think
yeah, sounds good.
that's what people are probably tuning in to hear about. So yeah, I mean, well, we start with a swim, I guess. You obviously were picked number one. Is that
Hmm.
how? Is that I missed the start of them calling you out to the pontoon or
Yeah,
to
so
the beach start.
the first 10 get like their own introduction, a bit like T100 does it, with a awkward like standing there for 5 seconds waving and smiling.
Mm,
And they go number 1 to 10, so I'm the first one to get announced and can pick my spot first. And I decided I wanted to go left, but not fully left, actually a bit where Lucy picked as well. um, and then I was talking a bit with Rico before and how we do it in T100. He was going to come on my left side, which he did as well. And then Kristian Kasper, I think, lined up next to us, or Kristian Gustav Kasper, I think it was maybe. So they were on my right, Rico on my left. And then after 10, it's like free for all. Everyone runs and has to find a spot, and they have boxes as well. So someone came, and there were no more spots left on the left. So he then let like choose another spot, and it was like the last spot that was available, basically. And Bart
Okay.
Arnouds, who was in this free for all, he said it was quite stressful and quite a lot of pushing,
Mm.
um, which is interesting. And then the start, it was like a beach run, but it was basically like 3-4 steps and dive. And I was actually, my reaction time was quite slow, for some reason. It's also like, you're on the starter, and then they say, okay, 60 seconds to go, 50 seconds to go, and then 30 seconds to go, and then Paul K was the announcer, says like, that was your last timing check or something. And then you just have to wait.
Yeah. Is it worse? Is that 30 seconds worse than the heartbeat? Just with
the
silence.
heartbeat is worse.
Yeah.
I feel like the heartbeat is worse. But then, because I was standing next to the Norwegians, they make some incredible noises, huh?
Yeah. That's Kristian, isn't it? Or is it?
I think this was
Cassidy?
Gustav, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, then the start, I messed up for some reason. I don't know. I wasn't feeling those first like 100, 200 meters. My wetsuit didn't feel good. Like, I don't know, like it was too tight around my chest, and I was like starting to panic a bit, like from like bloody hell, like what is happening here? Like I'm not swimming normal, and I wasn't able to, like, what I can do in T100 usually is go into Rico's feet and we swim to the front. Where now I lost his feet like almost straight away, and I got into the washing machine basically from the get-go. And the problem then is, because you're quite on the left and you're with like 60, 70 athletes next to each other, like the quick ones, they go out hard and then they move to the right, more towards the middle. But because I was slower, like there's way too many bodies there, so I couldn't move to the right. So I was like, didn't really have any feet, but like I couldn't go into feet either because there was just people blocking it. And so I wasn't really good at first buoy, and tried to move up a bit. And I guess I came out right.
Did you know like where you were situated?
More or less. Like, it's hard to see because the sun just comes up and stuff. But I noticed that there was quite a few people in front of me, like, and I did see a gap, but I feel like in the end it maybe was only Kochani who had that gap. Because then it seemed like from second to wherever behind me, it was one big pack, it seemed.
There was maybe a small gap, I think, like
Okay.
a few seconds. At least at one point, I remember seeing that there was Crociani, a handful of athletes,
Okay, yeah.
and then a small gap, and then the bulk. But I remember they did zoom in on you at one point, maybe about I'm going to say 600-700 meters to go, 6-7, 500 meters to go, roughly, something like that. And you were you're in the bulk of the pack, and you had some really strong riders behind you. So I wasn't thinking, I know you would have ideally been in that group that was a little bit ahead of you, but I didn't think it was a terrible swim. Maybe not the best one that you've had this year, especially with some of the T100 races that you've been doing. But yeah, I think you probably, and as evidently, you set yourself up for a good, I guess, early start of the bike. But I guess before we get onto the first K on the bike, it looked like, I think you had one of the fastest T1s. So that was again the plan: get out, go as hard as you can, and try and get to the front of whatever group you're in.
Yeah, because I felt like it's hard to know exactly where you're coming out of the water, but in my mind I was like, this was not a good swim. So I went like bazookas in transition, and did a really, really quick transition. Like, I think I had the fastest skate set. So then actually when I jumped on the bike, I was still a bit in this mindset of I need to go to the front ASAP. And then I heard like a bottle fall. So I was like checking behind if it was my bottle, and I wasn't really focused on the road. And then all of a sudden, there was the roundabout in the right-hand corner, and I just overcooked it like a maniac. Like, brake too hard on the front wheel and just slid away and underneath the barrier.
I guess head first. I don't know how that happened. Head
Head
first.
first, yeah. It was head first because the barrier was literally stuck like and my ribs, because the barrier, like, it was quite high, the gap. So
Yeah.
I literally just perfectly fitted in, and then my like ribs stopped it or something.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like you're stuck with your feet still in your cleats as well. So I was like, what the hell? I
Oh, you're
was
still
so
connected.
mad at myself.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I imagine you were, but I guess the initial moment would have been shock, I guess. But um, mate, we can laugh about it now, obviously, but we didn't pick up on it on the camera, so we knew something happened. But
Hmm.
the camera, you've probably seen it where they pick you up from. They
Yeah.
just show you picking up a bottle. So you're not exactly sure. We're not exactly sure what had happened. I don't know whether you dropped the bottle and you stopped because you didn't want to get a penalty. We assumed something had happened, but we didn't know for sure until we saw some footage maybe that was circulating of someone with a phone, midway through the
Hmm.
bike or a bit later on. And I guess we can laugh about it now, but in reality, you actually hit the deck pretty hard. And I guess some people say racing isn't luck; it's down to hard work. But I mean, there could have been some really unlucky things that came from that crash that easily could have ruined and ended your race right there, whether that was an injury or a broken bike. So
Yeah,
yeah, we can definitely laugh about it now, but you had some luck on your side for sure in that moment.
definitely. It was good that I like just slid, over the whole road. Like you can see it in the video. I was sliding really nicely, which I think it's more like a big impact and you stop. I feel like it's really worse for like
Mm,
breaking something. But now
yeah.
I just had like quite superficial
Yep.
road rash. So really not that bad. Like I have on my like a few spots, but really like nothing too bad. And yeah, then the worst of my bike actually was that rear derailleur that was like bent,
And your
which made
extensions, right? And your
yeah,
aero
but it
bar.
wasn't too bad at all. Like maybe I made it look like it was more than it actually was. It was just I have them normally like maybe a centimeter apart, but now my right one was like crossing over on the left one, the top of it.
Mm,
So it
yeah.
really wasn't too bad. You can see they're a bit like in general a bit more like sideways. They're not straight, but it wasn't too bad. Like I didn't notice that anymore after like 10K,
Yeah.
like I didn't think about it anymore. And I
I
lost my
guess.
visor, which was annoying in the downhill though. I was like with my eyes half closed because there was so much wind. And
Yeah.
then also because you don't wear the visor, there's like quite a lot of wind coming underneath this helmet and it just like lifts up in the air in the downhill,
Mm, yeah.
which was
But
kind of annoying as well.
yeah, I mean, sliding was lucky, as in for not hurting yourself too bad, but it's probably not the best for the bike. So
True,
yeah,
true.
we'll get on to this part now. So you got back onto the bike. Oh, in that moment. So you said you're really angry with yourself. I guess, was there a split second where you thought, That's my race, it's over"?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, at one point I thought this is it. I just go to transition back and it's done.
Mm.
But then you do like start to check because it was actually at the initial moment was like fuck, this was hard. This was painful, where the one in Oropesa where I crashed, like I felt was less hard, where how hard I hit the deck there. But I
Mm.
felt like this one was quite painful. So I was like, oh, this is not good. But then you like get up, like assess yourself a little bit, assess the bike. I was like, all right, let's just give it a try. It's not that
Yeah.
at that moment I thought like I can still win. It's like, let's just give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And well, in the end, like maybe it took a little bit to get to your feet because obviously like you said, you're checking yourself. But once you're on your feet, you're back on your bike, you know, pretty quick, smart, and basically just at the back of that group.
I
So,
literally jumped on the bike like Kristian just had passed.
mm, yeah,
So maybe
yeah,
he
we
just
saw
was
that.
like 5 seconds in front of me. So that actually motivated me as well, seeing him still there.
Mm.
Um,
And then you got to so you got on, you got riding. I guess you're assessing everything. You're in a little bit of pain, but you're getting going. I guess the adrenaline's helping. Yeah, I guess at some point your mind shifts from, okay, I'm not just getting back on, I'm back into the race. And then you start climbing and you realize, and you're in a pretty big one by, I think you're in a 58, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a 58. and you can't get your easiest gears. So
Mhm.
you had to then stop what looked like at the top of one of the first climbs. Is that right?
Yeah. So actually, there was a little, maybe like 1.5K climb that we did first before to go onto the highway before the actual climb. And there I noticed that if I tried to shift, like my rear derailleur, like the cage was hitting the disc. I was like, fuck, this is not good, you know? And then I looked and it was like fully bent, like the cage, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, this is not good. But then, yeah, just stuck onto it and I was like thinking what to do best. And then actually on the climb, I overtook Casper, and this is Casper Stornes, and he actually already, when I was crashed, he was like quite just behind me, and he was motivating me then as well. He's like, "Come on, Jelle, keep going," or something. And then when I passed him there, he asked me like, "All good?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"No, my rear derailleur is bent." And he said like, "Go to the top of the climb in first and quickly stop, bend it back, and keep going." It's like, oh,
Oh, that's not.
that's actually a good idea. Yeah, I really like appreciate that. That was really nice of him, and I also told him that like that it's really cool. Like he wanted to race against me, you know. He didn't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
me to just drop out, and like he wanted to win against me being there as well. So that was cool. And then how this first climb is, it's like 4K at like 7% kinda. Then it's like you go through a town where it's a little bit of a 1K technical descent, then some flattened stuff, and then the next 4K at 6.5, 7% again. And I found myself like overtaking a lot of people on that climb and going to that first stop, um, just overtaking Jonas for second position. And it was really steep that last bit. So I was like, okay, this is a good moment to stop. So I quickly jump off my bike, bend back my rear derailleur, jump back on the bike, and actually only lost a couple spots. Um, and from then on, I could use my 36 again, which I really needed actually for the climb because, like you said, I was on a 58, and I really needed that 58-36 to comfortably ride up the climb.
Mm.
Because before that, like I think I couldn't use my last two gears, so I was probably in what would that be like 58-28. So I was grinding
Yeah.
a bit there.
Lucky you're sub 60 kilos or 60 kilos, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
So, but for all of that to happen and still be in the front group, one, your legs must have been feeling good, and two, you must have been like stoked, like, okay, we're back on now. Put that. I guess, did you put it behind you as much as you could? What happened before?
After I bent that rear derailleur back, I was like, okay, now I need to focus back on the race. Because before that, I was still like, I'm not sure how I can finish this race without being able to use these small gears, you know, because on the way back as well, you needed them. But once I noticed that I could use them all again. Like my shifting wasn't perfect. Like some gears, it would still like, you know, like jump a
Skip.
bit. But yeah, it was it was all right, you know, a lot better than it was. So then I was back to like, okay, let's focus on the race. And indeed, like I had really good legs because yeah, I probably made up like, I don't know, 45 seconds after my crash to like Jonas and Jamie, who are like really strong bikers. So yeah, I was confident at that point again. But then
Yeah.
my hardest part still had to come all the downhill and all the fast bits where I have a disadvantage in my weight, you know.
Yeah. And before, people might be hanging out to hear your Garmin smashed or your Wahoo smashed. So there's no data from that ride. So
Yeah,
we can't even delve into that, which
I'm
would have
really
been actually
bummed.
quite interesting. Yeah.
Actually, that was also funny. Like someone was there and like gave me my Garmin back, my Wahoo. I have a Wahoo, but it wasn't the Wahoo that fell off. It was the whole Wahoo hanger that
Mm.
cracked off. So I was like, I can't do anything with this, and gave it back. They gave it to my parents, so I have my Wahoo still, which
Okay.
is cool. But yeah, so no power data, which actually I liked it, racing without any data, just
Mm.
going, just racing the race. I really liked it. Like it's maybe something I will do in the future. Just have like time and kilometers on there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Um,
I often
yeah.
did that as well. Like, I think it just gets you to race the race what's in front of you. So yeah, it's probably not a bad shout. I guess you might have the the first 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer of data.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, you can't
Haven't
do much
checked
with
it
that.
yet.
You haven't checked this. You might have a good Strava segment. You would have been flying into that corner. Might have a KOM.
Indeed.
Okay, we're not long from Lucy Charles-Barclay joining us, so we might actually just keep going until she joins, and then we can recommence where we get to. I think that might be the best solution for what we do. Talk us through the rest of the ride. Obviously, you said that the downhills and the flat sections were what was tough for you, and we saw Magnus go to the front. We saw Matisse go to the front. I'm assuming it looked like they were putting in some surges. Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, definitely. So the start of the downhill was Jamie, then me, and then Magnus overtook us. And I actually didn't know he was with us, so I was a bit like, okay, this can be a problem. And I did get gapped a little bit. Like they're just like they're quite a bit heavier, so it's hard for me. They don't even have to pedal, and they just bike away from me in those sections. But then I think I was smart with like I felt good on every uphill or every rise, so I would always like go to like second, third wheel, and then I could always let some people overtake me in the downhill section, and I would overtake them again in the uphill. And that was a bit my plan throughout the whole ride, basically, where I just tried to make the best out of the downhills, like kept pedaling where other people could stop pedaling. Tried to stay aero where some people set up. This was more maybe towards the end of downhill. But yeah, actually at no point I thought that I was dropped. Maybe at one point towards the end of the way back, the climb, I had a bit of a gap. But then it was again like it got a bit steeper again, and I was quite easily came back again. So yeah, I was happy with my ride, being able to do that with like Magnus, Rico, Matisse, who are like 3 probably of the top 10 strongest bikers at least.
Top 5 probably.
Yeah, maybe top 5 indeed. So I was really happy that I was able to stick with them. And then it was for me a bit because I could see that the Norwegians were often yo-yoing a bit.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did you notice that, especially Kristian? Because I'd love to ask him, and we might get a chance later in the week to do so. But I couldn't work out if he is tactically doing it, so just not trying to surge so much and just ride a steady state and confident in his rideability that he will be able to bridge back across, or he was actually suffering. I couldn't work that out. Did you get any word from him, or were you thinking the same?
I was thinking the same. Like, is he hurting? And then at points I thought like he was dropped or he was getting dropped. So I was like getting a bit excited. And then at one point, Jamie overtook me and said like, Kristian is hurting, or like Kristian has a gap or something. Like, oh, right, cool. And then all of a sudden, like Kristian overtakes me. And I was then thinking like, he just played the game the whole ride, you know? But yeah, I actually honestly don't know if it was just being efficient and tactically, or like struggling at some parts of the course. I know Casper told me that he found the bike to be like full on the whole race, which it was as well. There was like no points where the pace really dropped, because I felt like at every point someone is trying of those like Uber bikers. So yeah, I'm very bummed that my that I don't have my power data, because I might have some records. Huh?
You think so? Oh, that was going to be my question. Now, you're obviously done quite a few hard races now, T100 races with these guys. Did it stack up as one of the harder ones or hardest in your feelings?
Well, I think it might have been just one of the ones where I felt the best, you know. So I obviously, the ones where I get dropped are hurting more because I get dropped, you know. Like for example, London, I was struggling like a maniac, but my watts weren't that high. I just had not such a good day, and now I was having a good day. So I think Casper told me he had like 335 or something average.
335.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well,
And
if
he's
you
not
had
that
to have a
heavy
guess,
either. Huh?
Yeah, no. If you had to guess,
Well, I
what would
guess it would be quite a big difference between normalized and average, because there was sections where we didn't really pedal in the downhill, going like 85 k's an hour. I would say normalized probably like 325, 330 maybe for me.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
like maybe a bit similar to like Fréjus, which was my best race of the year, I think, biking wise, but it's longer. It took us 2 hours 10 minutes.
Yeah. And other than the crash and the mechanical with the rear derailleur, no other issues you got through, or your nutrition?
Yeah, and actually easy as well. Like I opted for like I had brought 260 grams of carbs because I knew it was going to be a little bit longer. So yeah, I was easily going through it all.
Oh, nice. Well, I think we might leave it at that point. We just seen that Lucy has joined us. So how about we bring Lucy in right now?
Yes.
Lucy Charles-Barclay, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on our podcast. We thought we would love to have both 70 men and women 70.3 champions joining us. So congratulations and thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, great to join you both. And not often you get two world champions on a podcast at the same time. So yeah, I thought it was a really cool opportunity. So yeah, thanks again for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy, for coming. It's great.
How have you feeling? Have you recovered? Has it sunk in? What's it been like for the last 48 hours for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I don't think it's quite sunk in yet. We've had loads going on sort of over the last couple of weeks, and I don't think I've slept for more than 5 hours since the race, to be honest. So running on something, I'm not quite sure what it is. I think the adrenaline is still there. A bit scared I'm going to come crashing back down to reality now I'm back home. But yeah, it's nice to ride the high for a little bit. And yeah, definitely, obviously after the disappointment of Kona only 4 weeks ago, it feels really good to be back on a positive trajectory rather than that negative one I was on a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm sure some plenty of Red Bulls are getting you through the days as of late. Yeah, so I don't want to take too much of your time, and so I thought we would just get you on to give us a bit of a 20-30 minute recap of your race. But I guess we should start before that. You touched on it a little bit just then about Kona, and I think many people may have thought, will we see Lucy race at all this year, let alone at 70.3 Worlds only 4 weeks after what happened in Kona. So how did you do it? And what point did you decide, yep, I'm ready to race? Yeah. How was that?
Yeah, I think immediately after the race in Kona, like when I got back to the hotel, I was like, okay, I think that's possibly the end of my season. Like maybe I'll make the T100 grand final in Qatar if I can have a bit of downtime. And then I think within like maybe 24, 48 hours, Reece was already like, no, we need to turn this around. Like, I think you could maybe get on the start line for 70.3 Worlds if your recovery's good. At that point, we didn't really know what had happened. We're still not quite sure what happened. Like, we've had some different test results back and speculations from different doctors. So we kind of parked that to one side really and was like, okay, let's just see how it goes. Coming home, we had a lot of family things happening, which I've kind of dove into on different platforms, but it kind of was just about trying to refocus. I think that was the hardest thing. Like, I spent 2 weeks where mentally I just wasn't in it, but physically my body was quite good, and I've never ever experienced that in my career. It's usually the other way around, that mentally I'm like go, but sometimes my body lets me down. So it felt like this really alien place that I'd never been, and I trained, but I just felt like it was a real mental struggle. And then after about 2 weeks of doing that and just committing to just training, I really turned it around and was like, actually, I feel pretty good now. Mentally, I feel somehow fresh, and the training was coming together. I did some good track sessions, some good bike workouts, and I was like, actually, this might happen. But I didn't want to get too excited because honestly, going into Kona, I think I was in the best shape I've ever been. I was healthy, I wasn't injured. Like, it felt like all the stars had aligned to do a perfect performance, and then we all saw what happened. So that was kind of a new perspective for me. That's never happened in my career. Like if I go into a race ready and good, I feel like I've been really lucky and it's normally come together. So that was the first time it hadn't. So I was like, okay, I'm not really going to say much. I'm just going to line up for 70.3 Worlds and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so quite early on you decided like 70.3 Worlds is a goal, or was it only when you did those like good track sessions that you were really certain you were gonna be able to do it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm always an athlete that if I am healthy enough, I will line up, just because it's an opportunity to see what happens. And the course looked so good in Marbella. I was like, I really would like to be there and see what I can do. And yeah, I think literally the week after Kona, I came home and did a really solid park run, which I absolutely love going and doing, like
Nice.
a 5K. And I wasn't supposed to do that. My coach Dan was a bit like, what was that? And I was like, I just needed it actually mentally to just go and see if I could push, and I could. And I feel like I somehow thrive in that environment because it's a little bit competitive. It doesn't really feel like it takes much mental energy because you're just thrown in. It's like a race environment and you just go hard. But I remember I had some symptoms when I did that. I like had an absolutely bad headache, and I was like, oh, is that like an after sign from Kona? So I kind of knew at that point I probably need to just be a little bit careful for the next couple of weeks in my training, not do too much intensity, just keep the body moving. And then, yeah, like I said, after about 2 weeks, I was like, okay, I feel like the mind's in it, the body's in it. I'm not getting these headaches anymore. And basically, if I can do what I'm doing in training on the race course, it should in theory lead to something good.
Yeah,
I know.
Cool.
Yeah, we want to talk about the good things that happened just on the weekend, but I've got one last question about Kona, I promise. You said there that you're still looking into what actually happened and what were the causes of it. But can you talk to us a little bit of what you were feeling? Was it almost that you were feeling amazing until you weren't, and then almost the lights went out and that was it? Or was it a slow progression where you're like, on the start of the run, you felt good, and then it slowly came by K, oh, I'm not feeling as good anymore? Like, talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think the swim felt completely normal, like how it normally does. It was a pretty choppy swim there, so I know I do thrive in that environment. So I was like, okay, yeah, the swim's fine. I feel normal. I feel great. And then I feel like, I don't know if all athletes do this, but I'm very good at almost lying to myself when it doesn't feel good, and just keep telling myself, no, it's fine, it feels good. And doing what I always do, using the aid stations, using the cooling techniques, doing my nutrition strategy, how I've planned to do it. So I'm like, well, I'm doing everything right, so it must be fine. But now when I look back, I'm like, oh, there was a lot of telltale signs that things weren't right. So for example, almost immediately when I got on the bike, I was so thirsty, and I, for the entire ride, couldn't get rid of that feeling of thirst. And I think I drank more fluid than I ever have on the bike because I was thirsty. We now actually think that I shouldn't have been doing that. Potentially that was actually what happened. I'd had too much fluid basically, and potentially too much salt throughout the race. But again, I was like, well, I'm just thirsty. It's not a drama. Like, I can cope. And then off the bike, I felt okay. Reese said to me that from my facial expression, he was like, something isn't right. I didn't even think this myself. I was like, I'm fine. I'm running at the pace I want to run. I'm using the aid stations. I'm maybe doing more than usual to try and keep cool. And now when I look back, I was like, it wasn't actually working. It wasn't doing anything. Like, I put more ice down my suit than I ever have. Like, I think I literally lifted up a bucket of ice, tipped it down the front of my suit. And I didn't really get a reaction from it. I was like, that's done nothing. So that's probably not right, obviously. And then I felt like for the first 10K or whatever it was that I took to close down Taylor, I was like, I'm taking my time doing this. Like, I'm not doing this too fast. I'm not rushing it. I'm trying to be patient. And then when I caught Taylor on Palani and overtook her, still in my mind at that point, I was like, well, I've won now. Like, I'm in the lead. I'm going to win. Literally within like 2 miles of that, I was like, I do not feel right now. Like, I actually felt physically freezing, and I was like, this is definitely not right. But even at that point, I was like, well, if you get the nutrition on board, get the salt on board, get the caffeine on board, then you're going to be fine. This always works. And then, basically from entering the energy lab, it just went really downhill. Like, I don't actually remember much from the energy lab, apart from being told that I wasn't actually running on the race course. I'd kind of gone a bit too wide and I didn't even realize. So, it spiraled pretty quickly. And I think I realized I was in trouble at that point and was like, I think I need help. I don't know what it is. And there's no one in the energy lab because no one's allowed in there. So it's only the volunteers. And I was like, I think I'm in trouble. And then the one other memory I had, which I think was when I was probably making the turn at 16 miles, the guy was like, oh, only 10 more miles to go. And I got really angry. I kept it inside, but I was like, is he joking? Like, see, I'm completely gone. Like, and he's, 10 more miles. I was like, and in my mind, I was like, I know I can't go 10 more miles, but I'm just going to keep going forward, but I can't do it. And then when I saw Reese, I was like, okay, I know he's going to tell me to stop now, and I know I need to. Because I think a lot of people questioned, they were like, oh, did you like argue with him that you want to continue? And I was like, no, I knew that it was the right thing to step off the course. Obviously devastating, but the right thing. Yeah,
and I think also, like some people questioned whether that was the right call, which I completely disagree with. I think, these heat episodes are can be extremely dangerous, and I think it probably this weekend probably showed that it was the right call, because like you are actually able to come back and now you've won a world title, and if you kept going, there's a good chance that we may not have seen you for the rest of this year. So no, sure. I'm glad that obviously everything worked out well, and you're able to get onto the start line. So let's talk about Marbella. Did you have the plan? Obviously, you had it. Well, we're used to seeing you at the front of the swims, but sometimes with company like Jess and Taylor, and sometimes a few others, but normally at least those three. Was the plan to just hit the swim hard and try and go solo from the start?
Yeah, I'm someone who always would just take the swim out hard, because I think it kind of just shatters the field and it works in my favor. But I was quite organized on race morning. I was like ready a long time, I think more than an hour before the race was going to start. I had all transitions sorted, and I was like, I've got like quite a long time to wait, and it's cold. So we actually went and did like a really thorough warm up, got the wetsuit on, and then I headed like over to the swim start literally a couple of minutes before we were allowed in the water. And swimming around, I was like, I feel like really warmed up, really good to go. So I don't know if I just had maybe more of a thorough warm up than some of the other girls. But yeah, when the gun went and I sort of got going, and I think we made the first left turn on the course, I had a look behind me and I was like, obviously I could just see Jess, but I was like, no one is on my feet. And I really hadn't anticipated that. Like in a non-wetsuit swim, maybe, but because it was a wetsuit swim, I just thought, to be honest, I'm going to have most of the girls maybe in a line behind me. So it was quite a big surprise. And I was like, okay, this is getting off to a really great start. But then I also thought, well, the same thing happened in Kona and it went really badly. So don't get too excited. Like, just, you've got the gap. Let's just settle into what feels a comfortable pace, swim the course, and then like assess the situation in T1 if you get any time gaps on the girls.
Yeah, and then onto the bike, I think you were holding Taylor at the start of the bike on the flatter section, but then on the climb, she came quite quick and then overtook you as well. And it looked like you had to settle for your own pace, and the gap grew a bit. But then we went into Ochen, and there you came back a little bit, I think. And then on the next climb, you actually more or less kept the gap. Were you just riding your own pace, or were you really thinking, I need to like be able to stay with Taylor and follow her, because it's obviously still a very long ride after that climb? Or were you just more focused on your own power and see where you end up at the top of the climb?
Yeah, I think before the race, Reese and I had kind of spoken tactics and what Taylor's tactics might be. And we always anticipated that she'd probably do an early attack obviously to get away from the other girls. And then she's such a solid climber. So we were like, she's going to attack on that first climb. And basically I need to just try and go with her, because that should set me up really well for the run, and it could be my ticket to get the win. And I guess the most fun thing is like, I won't go into numbers, but I'm seeing my numbers and I'm like, these are solid numbers. And she's still going up the road. So I was like, this is like, and then I was like, I'm sure there can't be many other girls that can ride these numbers. Like, even in the world of cycling, these are big numbers. So I was like, this is epic. Like, I'm going to get some power PBs today. And I was like, and I guess I was like, it is 90K as well. Like, I've obviously raced Taylor over the T100 distance, which is just that bit shorter with 80K. And this course had so much more climbing. So I was like, yeah, you do need to be a bit careful, because this is probably the toughest bike course we're going to ride over this distance this year. And it's 90K, not 80K. And you've still got to run fast after. So I kind of was like, go with her, but still keep it within the range of what you think is doable. And then in training, I'd ridden the main climb with the nice switchbacks quite a few times, and I'd done it hard every single time. So I was like, okay, do it like you've done in training, not quite as much as if I was going for a quam attempt, but like a little bit below that. And I could just see Taylor. So I was like, okay, yeah, just keep her in check the whole way up. And then I knew there'd be some downhill riding coming, where I didn't actually anticipate that would be where I'd be able to close the gap, but I was like, maybe that'll be where I'll have to just put a bit more of an effort in, because Taylor maybe will rest in that point, because her tactic was to attack on the climb more. But yeah, it was really cool to ride with her and like exchange the lead a couple of times. And I don't think I've ever ridden with Taylor in a race like where we're swapping the lead ever. So I hope that was how Kona was going to play out, but unfortunately I got a penalty, so that stopped us being able to do that. But yeah, that was really cool to see. And I think probably Dan's Training Peaks account, where he's literally got our data side by side, is probably like one of the most wanted data in the triathlon world at the moment. So yeah, obviously for me and Taylor, we have no idea what each other did, but Dan knows. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
I got to say, our listeners are going to be so upset, because we had so many questions about power numbers, and I'm not going to ask you to share your numbers, but we know, well, you may not know, but Jelle had a bike crash and he lost his bike computer, so he doesn't have his power numbers.
No.
You don't have yours, but all we can say, Jelle said his was really, really high. It felt like it was really, really high. You're saying yours was really, really high. Did you get the power PBs that you thought you would get in?
Yes. So that was the highest power I've ridden ever in a 70.3, actually higher than any T100 race as well, for my normalized power anyway. And also, funny story, when I did win my first 70.3 world title, my power meter didn't work, so I also had to ride that one with that power. And I did quite enjoy it, because sometimes when the number's there, you question it, like, is it too much? Am I not pushing hard enough? Sometimes it's nice to just not have it. But I kind of ignored it in this race, to be honest. I was like, you've just got to go with Taylor and go on feel as well. And I think I prefer to race like that anyway.
I actually said the same to Aaron, that I enjoyed it, not having any data and just race the race. But I guess it's different for you when you had won your first 70.3 world title. You were alone, right, on the bike. So for me, it was just like follow now. I just had to follow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say one thing, because actually we spoke about this, because it seemed like with the women's race, like you guys had quite a bit of like side wind on that downhill going after the out and back section. I felt like it was a lot less with us, but yeah, it was quite bad. Or
yeah, it definitely, I hadn't anticipated that. Like I guess when I'd ridden it in training, there was like a little bit of wind, but mainly just like headwind, tailwind. And there were some points on the course where it was kind of really unexpected, like a massive gust would come through and just like shake your bike. I think, again, I'm quite lucky. I do a lot of training in Lanzarote, and the wind there can be pretty scary at times, especially the crosswinds. So I'm used to, I guess, riding in that environment, and that was definitely where I could make time back up on Taylor, because I guess maybe she was less used to that than I was, or yeah, kind of just going with the flow when that happens and hoping you're not going to get completely blown off the road. But I actually weirdly find it quite fun. As long as I can stay upright, then it's quite fun. Yeah, I think I used it to my advantage a little bit.
I think as well sometimes on TV that at least when I've seen myself riding in crosswinds later on, I think it looks worse than it actually feels sometimes in the race. Like you feel more in control than you look when you're watching back on the TV, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like I saw a clip of the crosswind hitting me, and I was like, "Oh, it didn't feel like that. That looks like I'm nearly off." Like,
yeah, it did.
So yeah.
And so obviously you just mentioned you had a really good ride. Did it and the numbers were there. Did you start the run feeling like you just rode the highest power you've ever pushed, or were you still feeling pretty good?
Yeah, there was one moment at the very end of the bike when we'd finished. I think we were the last little bit of the downhill before we had the final flat, and I think we were going round a roundabout, and I got a little bit of cramp in my hip flexor, and I was like, "Uh-oh, have I overbiked here? Like, it's going to be a problem." But it never ever came back. It was like this one little sign, and then because I was like, "Oh, am I going to start the run and just start cramping everywhere?" But yeah, luckily I was completely fine. I think also sometimes in T2, like if I'm standing up putting my shoes on, I will cramp. And for me, when that didn't happen, I was like, okay, I think that was the most likely time you would cramp, and it didn't happen. So yeah, just try and start the run confident that you were fine. I mean, the energy levels still felt pretty good. I feel like I fueled very well throughout the ride, and it's not always the easiest to fuel on a course like that because you're trying to stay with the wheel in front, trying to be able to breathe when you're going uphill, trying to take on a gel, then you're descending, so you're trying to actually read the road or get the right line and actually get anything on board at that point. It's really difficult. So I feel like I did quite a good job at that, and then yeah, the energy levels felt pretty solid going into the run.
Yeah, and then onto the run, you seem to, with all your runs, I feel like just really focus on yourself and your pace, and yeah, then you overtook Taylor. I actually don't remember when it was, but do you stick to your pace that you say beforehand with Reese and maybe then, or you just go on feels?
Yeah, I kind of I think 1 week out from the race, I did a really solid run session. It was about 20k with 2 hard 5Ks in it, and the pace I did on that, I was like, I don't need to run that quick, but I feel like I can. But I also was really surprised with how well Taylor was running. I didn't expect her to start off as fast as she did. Like I always anticipated that her lead into the race might have been slightly worse than mine. I knew we both hadn't had ideal lead-ins and it had been difficult, but I just assumed hers might have been worse. So I was like, wow, that's surprising that she's gone off at this pace. Like, is she going to be able to maintain that? And it was kind of the same attitude I had in Kona. I was like, don't try and close this down too fast. Like, take your time to do it. So I think it took me almost 7 kilometers to close that gap on Taylor. And then she ran with me for another kilometer or so before I started to feel like I was getting that gap. And I was trying to just gradually up the pace throughout the run to make sure I'd established that lead. And then after that, I think it was amazing to kind of run by myself, very different to you and Kristian just doing the whole thing literally side by side. I mean, it was epic to watch, but I mean, it's so tough to do that, and kind of when you're in that situation to then be trying to focus on yourself, run your own pace is so difficult. Whereas I felt like I was sort of in a different position where I could just kind of really listen to myself. Am I running the pace that feels right? And then adjust the pace if I needed to. So and luckily then pretty much by at least halfway around on that second lap, I was like, okay, I think I can really enjoy this now, which was really special to be able to do that, especially at a world championship.
So halfway through that run, you thought you had it in the bank, or you were confident?
Yeah, I think so. I still felt
That's
really
crazy.
solid. Yeah, I didn't have any cramping or nothing really. Obviously you're hurting because you were pushing, but nothing other than that, which is I thrive off that pain anyway. So I was like, this is really, really cool. And I felt like the atmosphere there was probably one of the best atmosphere I've experienced in any of the racing that I've done, especially in that town area of the run course. It was just so loud. So I think that really helped me just to dig in that little bit more as well. And yeah, like I said, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know it wasn't Kona hot, but did it ever cross your, like, was there any sort of flashbacks, like, as in, oh, did you? I know I said I wasn't going to mention Kona anymore, but I just wanted to, like, did it ever come across your mind at all during the run, like, oh, what happened 4 weeks ago? Don't make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, luckily there was no PTSD. I didn't really think
Okay.
at all in the run. I was just like, just focus on now. I mean, it was much cooler. It actually felt like quite a nice temperature to be running in. And even though I wasn't feeling too hot, I was like, right, we'll keep cool, get the water on top of you, get the ice. My Pro fluid bottle, which I should have actually drunk most of it. I think that was the coldest fluid I received on the course. So most of that just went over my head anyway, to just keep myself cool and just make sure I wasn't overheating. I think one of the things I've realized in training, kind of, I guess, training for Kona and since then, is actually I do a lot of training with the core sensor. I'm not sponsored, by the way. I do just use it. And it's amazing to see how high the core temperature goes, even in a cool environment, when you're really pushing your body hard. I think even if the environment doesn't feel hot, it's still so important to keep the core temperature down. And yeah, I guess that's something I've learned in the last couple of weeks, and then still used it in the race. I think it's never worth feeling hot. You always want to keep yourself cool. So yeah, that helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, epic race. Well done. Like we mentioned before, to come back from that after, you know, the last month that you've had is epic, and a testament to you and Reese and your team, Dan, and everyone behind you that got you onto that start line, ready to fight for another world title. I don't think, or at least I couldn't imagine what it would have felt like, or could have felt like, for you to know you're going to have to push your body again so hard so soon after that. So yeah, really big credit to you, and well done. Before we let you go, I don't want to take much more of your time. We did put out some a question thing for listeners to put in some questions, and we got a lot. So apologies to those people that we may not have the chance to ask the questions, but if you don't mind, we'll just get on to a couple of them before we wrap it up with you. So first one, how does this compare with St. George, your last?
Yeah, I was talking to Reese this morning about this actually, and he'd said to me before the race, I think I'd said to him, like, oh my God, how amazing would it be if I could win here and like turn it around? And he was like, I actually don't think you're going to be able to imagine how good it's going to feel if you did win. And I think it's the most, like, I don't know, there's so much emotion and feeling running up that finish line that I feel like it kind of tops everything in my career, because it just meant so much to do it. And I felt like I wasn't just doing it for myself, I was doing it for my team. And we've had so much family things happening since I got home from Kona. So it felt like it was for all of them as well. And yeah, that was definitely really emotional. I mean, you never can top, I guess, winning your first ever world title, but I think this might just do it. So yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's nice. Someone asked if the Olympics should include a T100 or 70.3 distance. I know at one point you were aiming, or like had the idea of trying to qualify. So maybe you're a bit biased in this.
Yeah, I think, I am biased because in the UK, it's all about the Olympics. Yeah. Like, I pretty much get zero recognition here for anything that I do. So it would be really cool for the middle distance to go into the Olympics. I feel like at the moment, it's possibly one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive distance, because it brings the Olympic distance athletes in and the long course athletes. So yeah, I personally love to see it, definitely biased, but yeah, I feel like it would be a great addition. So yeah, let's get it in there.
I agree. I most certainly agree, and I'm sure Jelle does as well. And this is just a me question off the back of that. Do you have any plans to go back to short course at all for LA, or you're done with that?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. Like, I would love to go to the Olympics, and my experience in the race in itself, I loved it. I felt like it's more the politics of it that I struggle with. So I kind of just love being my own boss, doing the middle distance, doing what I want. No one tells me what I have to do. So yeah, I feel like I'd be more likely to try and do it in swimming than in triathlon. So.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
cool. Yeah. What are you focusing on for next year?
Oh, this is so difficult. Like, I still don't know, and we're like 11th of November and I still don't know what next year looks like. Obviously there's still racing to go this year as well, so it's difficult to look ahead to next year, but I always am like, I'm just going to do what excites me the most, and all racing excites me, so that again makes it really difficult decision. I feel like we'll probably have some big discussions with obviously my coach and Reese and my sponsors and see what direction they want to see me racing in, because I'm not really, I could race anywhere and be happy. So some big decisions to make for next year for sure.
And maybe some park runs.
Some park runs.
Some competitive park runs.
I haven't got under that 16-minute mark yet for 5K, and it's quite a big goal of mine. So maybe in the very short off season I can try and achieve that. So.
Yeah, you're a bit in the same run shape as Aaron at the moment then.
I think I can just get under 16 just still.
Oh, if you wanna come and pace me, be my guest.
Well, I was actually talking with Jack Kelly this morning, and we're both committed that we're going to do London Marathon next year. So if you want to come into
that, amazing. Oh, that is probably one of the best events I've ever done. So definitely we'll do it again one day. I don't think it's going to fit into next year's season, but you'll love it. It's so good.
My wife did it last year, or this year actually still, and I watched on the sidelines. It was amazing. I like goosebumps the whole day watching pretty much. So I definitely look forward to that one. Right, I'll just we'll go with a couple more before we wrap it up. Would you rather, there's a couple of here that I was tossing up between asking, would you rather podium at the 70.3 world champs? Sorry, would you rather win the world champs, so 70.3 world champs, or podium but win the Pro Series?
You've got it's a world title every day, like for me. So I'd go with that, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I would say the same. Is there something that interests you, the Pro Series, because you haven't gone for it yet, right?
Yeah, I haven't gone for it yet. I think the main reason, well, obviously I've been loving doing the T100 racing, but the main reason I hadn't gone for it was kind of, you pretty much have to do 3 Ironmans to come anywhere. And after the season I had last year, where I was just pretty much injured on and off all year, I was like, there's no way my body is going to be able to do 3 Ironmans. I feel after this year, I feel a lot more confident that my body could take it. I've been healthy all year, touch wood. So maybe I will have a look at doing that next year. I think it looks so exciting, and I think there's potentially more women that are going to go into it next year, so it could make it even more exciting than we've seen. I mean, obviously Kat has been so dominant the last 2 years in it, but it would be kind of fun for some of us to come in and challenge that a little bit.
Definitely, most definitely. And right, last one. So obviously I think this is maybe the best run form you've been in, or it's certainly for a while, maybe. I don't know. I guess you can answer that for me, but is there any key run workouts that you've done this year or changed things up, or has it just been a case of consistency?
Yeah, I think my run form has it's been on a roller coaster my whole career, really. When I'm injured, it's not great, and I have to have a lot of time off running. And then when I can be consistent, it's really good. I think even back in 2021, I ran a 118 on the course in St. George, which was really challenging run course, like a lot of climbing. And at that point, I knew I could be a strong runner. I think I had the fastest swim, bike and run that day. So it's definitely always been there, and it's always been frustrating that I can't always pull it together. I think this year's definitely been the most consistent it's been in racing, but it's also just been the most consistent it's been in training. My run mileage, probably compared to most, is quite low, but it's just been consistent. And I do have some key workouts that I've done over the years that just really work for me. I enjoy running on the track, but this is the first year in years that I've been able to run on a track and not get injured. So possibly that's helped just up that speed. But I think it's just come down to consistency. It's the first year in my whole career where I haven't had to have a single week off of running. So That has been amazing. And I've hopefully, like I said, the mileage is low. So I'm hoping I can just kind of gradually nudge that up and keep it consistent a little bit more. And hopefully we'll see that progression continue. But at the moment, it's obviously in a very safe distance. So it's not putting me at too much risk, but it's still allowing me to race well. So yeah, I don't want to risk it too much.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think we've taken enough of your time. I just want to really say thank you for coming on our podcast, and also, yeah, I'm proud that I was standing next to you both as world champions. I think, yeah, as me, I like really look up to you, like with everything you've achieved, and a bit also like how do you say it, transcended the sport. I think it's really cool. So it's an honor for me to have you on here, and yeah, I guess I see you in Doha.
Yes, you will. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll have a very small rest and then build to that one. I'm sure you'll be the same. But yeah, thank you so much for having me, and also congrats on back-to-back wins. I think there's not many men that have done it, have they? They're like only
the fourth, apparently.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're in a very elusive group there. So, and yeah, just cool. Being such a humble, down-to-earth champion as well, which I think is always really nice to see. So congrats on that, and what an epic battle. It was so amazing to watch. And yeah, Aaron as well, congrats on an amazing career. Yeah, it's been great to follow you, and yeah, probably more so over the last couple of years doing the middle distance. But yeah, congrats.
Thanks very much, Lucy. And yeah, echo what Jelle just said. Thanks for joining us. It's been our pleasure to have you on, and congratulations yet again. And yeah, good luck in Qatar. I guess you're still in the hunt for a world title there, I think. So yeah, that'll be exciting.
It's going to be pretty tough now, I think, not going to Dubai this weekend, but still, it's always all to play for. So we'll see how it goes.
Always all to play for. All right. Thanks, Lucy.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was yeah, really epic to have Lucy on to share her story. I know, yeah, obviously an epic race that we all got to watch and witness, and to see her win actually in the end was quite dominant. So yeah,
very impressive race.
Yeah. Right. Well, we've got your run to still talk about before we wrap it up. So how about we get onto that?
Yeah, maybe T2 first, because I also really messed up T2. Like, usually I hang my bike with the saddle on these racks, but with this new bike, like, and how my saddle is positioned on my seat post, there's not much like tip of saddle left to put on the bar. So it like fell, and like, yeah, it was quite a bit of a mess up. And then I think I lost 15 seconds maybe there to Kristian, who actually also didn't put socks on. So he made a tactical decision there to not wear socks. And then actually we had to start with like a U-turn, like up a bridge, down a bridge, another U-turn. And my hip was like not good. Like I felt it a bit on the bike, but it's different. You don't really have impact. And then the start of the run was like quite painful. I was limping a bit. And actually at that point I thought like I won't be able to finish this race. And I like even shouted to Kate, like, my hip is hurting. And actually maybe I shouldn't have done that, because then she got quite worried, and she said just run. And I was like, yeah, it's true, like I just have to run, don't be like a pussy. And then so like simple. Actually it disappeared. Just simple, indeed.
So simple. No, but
hard, Aaron.
Yeah, exactly. But it's kind of true, right? Like, well, what do? You either stop or run. Like, if it's really painful, you're gonna have to stop. If not, just keep running. So she's onto something there. I didn't see you actually, Olympia, but Dicko said, especially around that first U-turn after the bridge, that you looked really, really sore.
The bridge was, the downhill was not good. That was not good. And then there was a U-turn like straight after.
But you caught up fairly quickly, I guess, within a couple of K. Jonas did his typical Jonas.
Yeah.
he took out about 25. I think he was 25 seconds down. He took it out in the first less than 2K. So he's definitely running under 3-minute Ks.
When he passed me, he went quick.
Yeah. Well, we know what he does. That's his normal race tactic.
Yeah.
But other than your hip, was everything else feeling fine? Like your heart, your lungs, your legs in general, other than the hip?
Yeah. Once I started going, like I felt really good. Like I got that. I think at one point someone told me 17 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think I caught that within 2Ks, and quite comfortably as well. It wasn't like a big effort to do that. I thought so. yeah, like quite happy with that for sure, like how that felt. Um, yeah, so I was quite confident. And actually, like once I got them, I sat in for a little bit. It was like Jonas, Kristian, me, and Jamie was just getting dropped. But I was like, this goes too slow. Like we were running maybe like 320, and I was like, fuck, this is jogging. Like I felt good. And then it was the uphill. So I just went for it, like straight away went for it. And Jonas got dropped, but yeah, Kristian is a
He was
bloody fighter, like breathing like a maniac, like, but yeah, like could come back every time I tried.
Yeah. Well, you threw in, it seemed like quite a lot, especially on the uphills, which I guess makes sense being a lighter runner. But were you getting well, I guess maybe you were getting a little bit frustrated because he was obviously sitting behind you quite often, which racing you can obviously do what you want. But was it sort of frustrating you at points?
Yes, it was definitely frustrating me because there was quite a bit of wind as well. And every time I asked him to take a pull, he would either say, I'm waiting for Casper, or he would like go to the front and really slow down. So I was getting quite annoyed with that. But I know it's his tactic. Like I've had this run battle with him in Yokohama in 2021, where I also was leading the whole way basically, and him having behind me breathing quite loud and me thinking like, okay, I have this in the back. And then he had like this massive attack 2Ks with good 2Ks to go, which he also used, I think, in Tokyo Olympics. So it is a bit his tactics, and fair enough. But I know he doesn't want to wait for Casper. You know, he wants to win the race. So also was a bit like maybe he doesn't feel great. But then indeed, after a few of those attacks, when I noticed I can't drop him, my plan was to just run steady, but like have quite a bit left. But then every uphill, like really go for it, because I thought that those are my sections. Like for example, last year in Las Vegas, that's where I dropped Marta as well every uphill. So I was like, these are my sections. Like I'm gonna at least hurt him there. But then in every other section, I was like cruising a bit, you know, like running fast, but I just felt good, so it felt quite comfortably. But yeah, even with like 5K to go, I would ask him to take a pull, and he would go to the front, and it was at this little like tunnel we do, so we go down and up, and we're basically walking up the uphill, and he says, I'm waiting for Casper, who at that point was a minute behind with like 5Ks to go. Like it's not gonna happen, you know.
Yeah. I think it's maybe, well, it's probably that he was hurting more than you, right? And so he's thinking, how can I, well, make it as easy as possible for me? And that's either sitting behind, or if he goes to the front, goes quite easy. And it's just happened to be lucky that Casper was in third, that he could use that as an excuse. And I guess for you, you're in a tricky situation, right? Because you're feeling good. You're thinking it's either true that he's waiting for Casper, and so then therefore you've got two Norwegians versus you, or he's sitting in and saving himself. So, you know, you're in a bit of a sticky situation where you're like, I'm almost damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Yeah,
And I
especially
guess,
because there was quite a bit of wind. Especially on that like pier thing we did. But I was in like the back of my mind with like that Aix-en-Provence race he did, where he like last 6K did an attack. So I thought like he's gonna do an attack like with 5 to 6K to go. And when like 5K to go, he didn't attack. And with 4K to go, he didn't attack. With 3K to go, he didn't attack. I was like, okay, he must not be feeling super fresh anymore, because otherwise I'm sure he would have attacked already. And then the attack actually came with like a K and a half to go, just after this like long section of headwind. But actually that attack, I could answer it quite easily. Like it's hard. Like if I look at my like data, like the last mile, which basically he attacked, it was like 258 pace, you know, it's on. But I felt great. But I felt great doing it. I was like, okay, I really still have something left. And then from that moment, I decided I'm just gonna wait for the sprint. And well, you couldn't see it on the coverage, but it was like a U-turn with maybe like 100, 150 or 200 meters to go. So I wanted to be in front there. So I was like sitting behind him, like just waiting until I saw, because the lap before I actually really looked at how the finish shoot actually was, because I thought like it might come down to the sprint. So I waited until I saw this like left for another lap, right to go to the finish. It was like coined off. Until I saw that, I went for it, but he still was behind me. I was like, damn, I went too early. So I slowed down a little bit so that I could attack again. It's actually the same I had with Mario Mola in Montreal, my first WTS victory. I also went too quick and like held back a little bit, and then he came next to me, and this was once we're starting in this small narrow section. But then I had another gear, so then I really accelerated. It was a bit elbow to elbow because it was quite narrow there. But then he had to like settle behind me, and then I did a bit of like a cyclocross move where I slowed down a bit in the U-turn, because he's behind me, to then really accelerate and I kick out of it, because he can only like accelerate like slightly later than me because he's behind me. And then I feel like you make a gap. And the legs were screaming though at that point, like, that very lactic feeling. But yeah, the 40-20s came in handy.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have also mentioned that in the questions. But big bad 60-kilo Jelle elbows Kristian Blummenfelt for the inside line. At that point, well, I'm not going to say did you think you had it won, but were you thinking like that? If I want to win, I have to be in front at that point, because it also looked like Kristian had that same thought.
Yeah. I think we both had the same in mind, like need to be in front there at the U-turn, but it was still long enough but you need to be quite a bit quicker. And I know I'm quite quick, so you need to be quite a bit quicker to outkick me there in that last 200. Pro Tri News boys would say I'm not quick, but I'll sprint any of them any day of the week.
Yeah, well, anyone, not just them. I reckon take anyone. Bring them all on. Come on.
Yeah, indeed. I think I can outkick a lot. Like, I wouldn't say like a Hauser, Dorian Koning's in good shape, Alex. They're probably very tough to outkick, but I feel like I have, at that point, it's also like who has most left, a little bit.
Because, like, sorry to butt in, but like you mentioned 2:58. There's loads of people in that race that can run not a last mile that quick, but there's loads of people that can run a mile that quick, right? So you're not running faster than you're capable of, right? You said your last 400 was 62. There's loads of people that can run a 62.
64, actually.
64.
But that's with that U-turn.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
a
lot of people can do it. It's who can do that after racing full gas for whatever it was, 3 hours and 30 minutes, right? That's the tricky part, so.
No, definitely. No, it was great.
It was great. It was great. Other than the fact that basically that last mile, we got just a shot of the hotels.
I heard that.
I feel sorry for. Well, at that time it was Sam Laidlow.
Oh yeah. Daniela? Wasn't she
it was
there?
Daniela. Yeah, it was. I was thinking Marinda Caffrey, but no, it was definitely Daniela Riff. I felt really sorry for them because they're watching it going. I mean, they might have even said at one point, "Can we please get back to the race?" But like you can hear in their voice, they're like, "What the fuck are they showing this for right now?" So, but anyway, the Ironman have just put up, and it's on YouTube actually as well. So the Ironman put up the last minute and a half ish. The last
mile on YouTube. It's the last mile. Instagram, it's Instagram not. This is YouTube. It's the last mile.
The last mile on YouTube, but
great
the last
footage.
400. It is good footage, actually.
Yeah.
Not being biased, I think it's actually really epic footage. So I would recommend everyone go and check that out. Right, I think. Well, we've been on for an hour 25. I know you've got a flight.
I need to catch a flight. Maybe what we should do, because there was some questions from me as well. I think I'll answer them on the All In Triathlon Instagram page. Maybe we can do it that way. Because I have a flight to catch to bloody the other side of the world.
Does it feel weird? Because you're European, you're Belgian. Did it feel weird that you're over in Europe, but it wasn't like you're at home, if that makes sense.
Um,
Or you didn't think about it?
no, I didn't think too much about it, to be honest.
I guess you've been living in Girona, which technically isn't
Yeah,
your
yeah,
home
indeed.
anyway. So
I do look forward to go to our own house now, like settle in there again, because it's been a long time on the road. Like lots of great memories. Like we said it this morning at breakfast. Like to get like it was a good trip. You know, I got third, second in T100s, and then won the biggest race on this trip. So yeah, it was definitely a very good European trip.
yeah. So obviously no Dubai for you. You're back home, recover, and get ready for one last push for Qatar, right? So
Indeed.
it's
Gonna
going to be
train a
tough
bit
for you.
together.
Yeah, we'll try and train together. Obviously, Hayden has a full load of scores. And actually, we're too early. We're not even going to get into that. That's another time. Right, mate. Safe travels then.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, we've said it. Well done.
See you on Sunday for Sienna's birthday party.
Yeah, Sunday. Is that
Don't
Sunday?
forget.
Okay. Well, we've got a really special. Well, this is also a very special podcast that we just had as well. The two champs. But do we say it? Or do we leave it?
Let's leave it a surprise.
Let's leave it for a surprise. But epic one as well coming on Saturday, which will come out, I guess, early next week.
Yeah.
So yeah, safe travels, mate. Well done again.
Thank you very much.
Awesome racing. You had us all glued to our TV, and can't wait to see you back on the Gold Coast.
Thank you. See you soon.
Ciao, ciao.